Test cam check. All right. Record here. All right, we're getting ready to get it all going on this week. That's it. It seems like we have done what we need to do. We've got all the checks done. The task cam is on. We are streaming live. And guess what? Hey, everybody, you are officially this week rolling with Ramsey. Hey, listen, another week has gone by and I must love it. You gotta love it. I am so thankful to be here on this platform with all of you all. We have a phenomenal show today. My brother, Mr. Neil, I see you. Constance, I see you. Can't wait to see you guys on Saturday. Thank you. The two of you are officially rolling with Ramsey. Oh man, this show today is gonna be phenomenal because we have an awesome guest today who is, it's just a blessing. It is a blessing to be on because I'm going to be able to share some knowledge with you today on something that is a wonderful thing, and that is home ownership. A lot of times with everything that's going on, particularly with COVID, buying a home is something I don't want to say that some people have shied away from. The process has just gotten, it's just a little different now. But the core essence of purchasing a home is important. Home ownership is important. Land ownership is important. When I bought my first home back in 2006, one of the things my mom told me, she says, son, you never sell property. Hold on to it. And so I rent my home out in Fayetteville, North Carolina right now, and I'm very thankful for that. And so we have a wonderful guest today who is going to be coming on board and is going to walk us through the home buying process. And not only that, when I say the whole process, it is going to be awesome because we even got one of her friends that she partners with. I believe his name is Mr. Sean Graham of Southeast Mortgage is going to be on with us as well today. But our phenomenal realtor, she's already here. And I'm loving it. Hey, Aleda, I see you. Thank you for rolling with Ramsey. My cousin just jumped in. Thank you for rolling with Ramsey. I see you, Tammy. Thank you as well. You are officially rolling with Ramsey. Y'all spread the word. Let people know today's show is going to be one of those ones that you do not want to miss. The beauty is this is a podcast, so you'll be able to listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Please make sure that you're giving us 5-star ratings. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify. But I'm telling you right now, it's beautiful because, hey, guess what? We'll soon be on iHeartRadio as well. So we're just continuing to grow because I am doing something for myself because I am operating in my purpose. This is not a hobby for me. This is not something that I just woke up one day and said I wanted to do. It was in my soul. And so I hope you all can feel that because I want you to know when you operate in your purpose, there is nothing that can get in your way. So, hey, please let Karen know. I know that Karen said she wanted to tune in too. So I am going to bring in our guest of the day first, and then we'll keep going. So let's bring our keynote guest on board. Now listen, Kisha, I see that you joined and you're watching one way, so I'm getting ready to bring you in. So let me tell you right now, be careful. So we're getting ready to bring her on board. There she is. There is the phenomenal guest, our guest for the week. And I have the pleasure of introducing a phenomenal realtor out of the Atlanta area who is doing wonderful things. Just like I said with the title of today's show, Buying a Home with Love with Kisha Simon. I'm telling you, she is truly a realtor who does that. She brings you in, she lets you feel the love, and that's how she continues to operate. Kisha Simon, you are officially doing what?
Rolling with Ramsey.
That's right. She's officially rolling with Ramsey. And listen, thank you for joining the show today. I'm so excited. But guess what? All that stuff that we were talking about, I don't know where Sean jumped to or whatever he did, but Sean is here. So we're gonna, I'm not gonna let him stay in the waiting room forever. Sean, if you're watching, but I'm gonna hold you there just for a little bit so that we can get this party started, and we're gonna bring you in just a little bit. So I know that you're waiting. I got you there. So Kisha, listen, I know that you didn't just wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm gonna be a real estate agent. You know, you didn't just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm gonna be a real estate agent. Tell us about your journey and how you got to being the phenomenal realtor that you are.
Well, it all started about 20 years ago. I, living in Newport News, Virginia, I bought my first I was inspired by a local realtor there, and I bought my first condo at the age of 20.
Wow.
Actually, I wrote my contract at 20. I didn't close until right after my 21st birthday. So, just being the only one of my crew that was a homeowner and so excited about my journey and wanting to share that with my friends and show them how they can, purchase a home as well. I became that realtor who sold me my condo. I became her assistant.
Okay.
I was so eager to learn the business because I was just so excited. And so I became her assistant, and then eventually got my license in Virginia, maybe a year later. And then I transferred to Georgia, and here I am about 19 years later.
Wow. Wow. So listen, hold up. I digress. Maybe you did wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a realtor, because it seems like it's been in your soul and in your bones for a minute.
Well, it has. And actually, I took a break. I took a break during the recession.
Okay.
Because that's when I got married and had a baby. I had a recession baby. So, and back then I was actually selling new homes. So I took a break, and then, shortly after that, the real estate universe sucked me back in. And I got back in.
Wow. It's funny. Before I brought you on, I was telling them, I remember purchasing my first home, the one that I rent, and my mom stressing to me, she says, son, you don't sell property. She says, once you get onto it, you hold on to it, and whatever you do, just don't let it go. Parlay it into something else, but property is important. And I was just saying that during COVID, home ownership is not something that is necessarily stressed, or people don't feel like they can still go through the process. I said, it's just different. I said, people are doing things that is just different, and that's okay. I said, but people are still buying houses, and builders are still building. So something is going on. So tell me, what we're going to do is I think we should approach today from a very I'll say a very elementary school approach, in me being the new. I've never purchased a home. I feel like I got my stuff together. I'm ready to buy. And so I've done, there's a ton of things you can do as far as research and this, that, and the other. But for whatever reason, when I was coming through the grocery stores, picking up all the flyers and stuff, I kept seeing Kisha Simon, bam, and here I am, and here we go. I want to buy a house. What do we need to do?
Well, first things first, before we can even move forward, is look at your greater financial picture.
Okay. Okay.
And that being, when I say greater financial picture, which is why I'm glad we have Sean on, who could help us break that down from a lending perspective, but that being your income, your debt, and your FICO score.
Okay. So
those three things are going to determine what you can buy.
All right. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. So you said greater financial impact, income. And listen, if y'all hear that thunder in the background, that ain't nothing but the Lord saying, hey, we're getting ready to shed some tears and give y'all some relief down there from the heat. But your greater financial impact, and you said your FICO score, and just overall debt to income. So I want to tell something to people. She said your FICO score. So listen, do not let Credit Karma get you embarrassed. And the reason why I say that is because Credit Karma does not use the FICO algorithm to determine what your possible score is. So I'm just putting that out there. if I had to advocate for a company, I use what's called My FICO, and I pay a fee every month to have access to the My FICO app that can show me my FICO scores, and then they will break that down, and they will even show me what my mortgage FICO score for buying a house, what my score is for buying a house, because your score is different for buying an automobile or a personal loan and purchasing a home. And so My FICO is an app. I think you pay something like $20 a month. I highly recommend it, particularly if you're trying to make some type of purchase so that you'll have, you'll know what your score is in closer proximity. Since we're talking about finances, let's bring Sean in and just and bring him on board. So we're going to bring him on right now.
I'm on.
Okay, you're on, but we can hear you, but we can't see you.
All right. I'm driving my car, so it may have a bad angle, so I'll get that.
Okay, well, hey, man, listen, brother, we appreciate you. We got you.
You got me? All right.
We got you. So
Hey, Sean.
everybody, this is Mr. Sean Graham of Southeast Mortgage, and he is partners with Kisha, and they work together a lot, I'm sure, because she stays busy. So, Sean, I'm sure she keeps you pretty busy.
I'm blessed for it. Blessed for the opportunity.
So, Sean, I'm gonna talk to you for a little bit because Kisha was just talking about one of the first steps to buying a home is determining your overall financial outlook when you're going into this venture of buying a home. And so you being with the mortgage company, just give us, I'll say, what you're looking for initially if I'm walking through the door and I want to buy a house.
All right, perfect. So my whole objective is try to keep it as easy and simple for you. So number one, the process is not a scary process, as long as you know what a lender is looking for. So I tell guys all the time, typically every lender is looking for 3 items. They're looking for you to be on your job or have a job for at least 2 years, okay? It doesn't have to be on the same job, but you need to be working for at least 2 years. Now, keep in mind, there's always some caveats to it. There's always exceptions to the rule, all right? So school transcripts can be used as compensating factors for work history, all right? But technically, we're looking for 2 years work history. Second thing we're looking for is that there's a minimum credit score that we want. And this can vary from lender to lender. So, most lenders are probably going to be at least a 600 credit score or above. You have some people that go down to 580. But I'm telling you guys right now, you don't want to have the lowest credit score because it will be reflected in your interest rate that you receive.
Okay.
And a lot of times you can get improvement in your score is pretty easy. So your lender can help you with that without you going to a credit repair company. Okay. Trust the lender on helping you with that. And last but not least, did I lose you? Last but not least, we want to make sure that you're able to prove your income. So if you can provide the pay stubs, bank statements, tax returns, we need to be able to prove your income. So if you say, hey, Sean, I make $40,000 a year, okay, that's cool. You just got to be able to prove it.
So let me ask you. So with a guy like me who's retired and I can show you that I got guaranteed money. If I can show you I got guaranteed money, like retirement, disability, Social Security, if I come in and say, look, I get this much, and this much, which totals out to this much a month. Am I like the American dream? Am I perfect? I make it easy for you?
Hey, anybody who's employed is is American dream for myself. So, and so the thing is, like, everybody doesn't get pay stubs. So in your case, if that's your real situation, yes, we can use that, because when you get Social Security or you get disability or whatever it may be, you get an awards letter.
That's correct.
And your awards letter will tell you what you get paid.
Exactly.
Now, sometimes if you do have an awards letter and you just received an awards letter, or you've had the awards letter, we do want to see where either the check has been deposited into your bank account. So sometimes you get it automatically deposited, or some people actually get checks. So the awards letter can suffice for you in this case.
All right. So
Go ahead.
I just want to interject really quick because there's a couple of questions out there for you, Sean.
All right.
So Erica asked, she says, okay, she said hello, and she says, question, she says, for the mortgage broker, what about self-employed business owners like myself for qualification?
So it's good because what people don't realize, even in my business, I'm basically like an independent contractor myself. So there are loans for you as well too. We want you to be self-employed for at least 2 years. Okay. Now here's a trick to it. Oftentimes, as a self-employed person, sometimes we don't file our taxes in a timely manner.
Right.
So here's the thing: is you got to be self-employed for 2 years, and you need to have filed your taxes for the past 2 years as well too.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Now here's the thing: is remember I told you guys earlier, there's always a workaround to a certain thing. So there are some cases where you can use 1 year self-employed tax returns and still get approved for the mortgage. Okay. But here's the thing: is when you work with self-employed, the tax system is set up to where we can write off a lot of tax write-offs. So you have to be worried about how much you're actually writing off when it comes to tax time.
Okay.
So a simple example would be, hey, your business brought in $100,000, but I wrote off $60,000 in expenses.
So that means you only profited 40. That's what they're going to look at.
So whatever you tell Uncle Sam you made as your income, and that's what they tax you on, that's what I can qualify you off of.
Okay.
So you can't say, hey, I've made $100,000, and you tell Uncle Sam you only made 40, but you want to get qualified off 100,000. Okay. And trust me, this is very basic. You know, I'm trying to explain it in a very easy way to understand. Okay. Yes, like if some of you guys may have done mortgages before, so there are things that we can add back into your income. There are some things like that. That's why it's always great to be able to talk to a mortgage lender for guidance through this.
So
even if you find a house, go ahead.
There's another question. They said, why do lenders form relationships with a buyer, earn our trust and confidence, sell them a mortgage then sell the mortgage to strangers after closing? Is this common practice? Jacob said, I personally think it's deceiving. And he says, change my mind. He said, so I guess the initial person buys it, then they sell it. Because I've actually had that happen to me, even in my mortgage. The servicing company services the loan. So, I mean, I kind of have a different opinion than you do, my brother. I didn't see it that way because by then, all I'm doing is paying the money, regardless.
All right. So here's the thing is, yes, that's very true. So this is a very common practice. And the only thing they're doing is transferring the servicing rights to the servicer. So, yes, we develop a relationship with you, and you can always contact your mortgage provider for any questions, any concerns that you may have. However, mortgage companies make money by selling the servicing rights. So in the United States, there's probably about
I don't think he'll probably come right back here shortly, guys, because he's driving. There you go.
The lender is. So it is a common practice.
I'm going to hold off because we're blessed to have him because he's driving. But he said it is a common practice, is what he's saying, for it to be sold off.
This amongst mortgage your interest rates, because let's say a friend is agreeing to buy it to me, buy it from me. So the savings happens there for you.
Okay.
And they make their money back up on the servicing of the portfolio.
Okay. And so Erica asked again, she said also, how is the current economy impacting the market? She said, Kisha, I know you usually have a higher end buyers. So is that market affected? So I'll let you go first, Sean, because I know you're driving.
So from my side of it, the market has, So I've been doing this for a while. So 08, 09 was very difficult when we had an event happen in the market. And I'm fortunate to be on the other side of that market right now, where we're receiving record highs in mortgage volume and applications and home purchasing. One of the things that could contribute to is interest rates are extremely low.
Right.
So you're getting people who are getting in a 2% interest range. When I first got into the business, people were getting rates with 7% first and 12 and 13% seconds. Okay, so when you're looking at rates down in a 2% range, that's driving people to now, hey, that house that I was looking at for $400,000, I can buy it for really, really cheap right now.
Right.
Then on the other token is people's home values have increased, and some people are a little nervous about, will I get furloughed? Will I have a job? So the thing is, they want to tap into their home equity. And I'm not sure if you guys know what that is, but the thing is, you get equity in your property that is yours. However, if you lose your job, you can't tap into that equity.
Right.
You can lose it. So some people are sitting with, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 worth of equity in their property. They're like, I need to pull this money out to make sure that my family is good during this time period.
Right.
We also have people who have equity in their properties, and now they're self-quarantining at their house, and now they're finishing up, basements or doing additions to their homes. Or, hey, I have an elderly grandmother, or I have an elderly father or mother, and I'm not sending them to a nursing home. So if I do an addition to my house, they can come live with me. So there's all kind of reasons that people are doing things right now. So it's created a tremendous amount of movement in the market. And I know a lot of times people say, hey, right now is a good time to buy. People say that all the time. But I'm just telling you guys, if you're in a position to buy, you're curious about buying, you're not going to find rates cheaper than they are right now. This is the lowest it's ever been.
And so I think when you just go ahead, Kisha, go ahead.
Oh, I just want to piggyback off of what he said. That's one of the topics I want to discuss about equity. So I have a lot of buyers on the fence thinking, I'm going to wait because it's, we're going to have a lot of foreclosures. I'm going to wait because, the prices are going to drop, and I'm going to catch that same home when it goes down. The thing is, this recession that we're experiencing is totally different than the recession we had in 08. This recession was not caused by the housing crisis. So we have over 60% of the homes have at least 20% equity in their home. So with that being said, they have enough equity to hire a real estate agent to sell their home before they let it go into foreclosure. So I wanted to piggyback off of what Sean just said about equity. So with that being said, if you are on the fence, now is a good time to buy because you want to capture the lowest interest rate as possible.
And I think that both of you are answering Jacob's question, because he says, I closed in 2019 on a VA guaranteed loan. I get less than 3 letters a day from various companies asking me to refinance. And he says, should I? I'm going to answer that question. The question is, what is your current finance rate? And can you refinance and get a lower interest rate? I believe that's what it really comes down to.
Yeah, so everybody has a different reason why they refinance. So, some people they're doing exactly what you said. Hey, I want to lower my payment. Then some people are trying to pull cash out. And sometimes when you pull cash out, it doesn't always lower your payment, but it allows you to lower your bills because I now have the cash to pay off the car, the high interest credit cards and things of that nature.
Right.
So it's your mortgage payment may not go down, but your overall expenses monthly will go down, depending on what you use it for. However, the equity is yours, the money is yours. You can do whatever you want with it.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Oh, wow. And so you guys are both rolling with Ramsey. We've got people in the room. Guys, if you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments section. I'll see them, and we'll keep this thing going. We've got superstar realtor Kisha Simon, and we've got her mortgage guru, Mr. Sean Graham of Southeast Mortgage, who is actually driving with us, so we're blessed to have him on. So Kisha, all right, so I come into your office, you asking me about my financials, you get me on the phone with Sean, everything seems to be okay. Talk to me, what we doing next?
So once we get the pre-approval letter from Sean, which will state what price range we should stay within, then we begin the shopping process of looking for your home.
Okay.
And that's a two-way street. So, a lot of times people feel like, oh, well, I found this house, the realtor didn't find it. Okay, but that's when the work begins. Because consumers have access to the market the same way realtors do. People are on Zillow. You may have a Realtor.com, or the agent that you're working with may have their own app within their brokerage that they, gave you access to so that you can search the market. So, finding the home is a two-way street. And so once we found the home that you like, we start the negotiating process and we start the contract process at that time.
Okay. So do you find it sometimes that people, it's like being a little kid and you ask for all this food in your plate, and mama used to say your eyes are bigger than your stomach.
Yeah.
Folks come in and they want all this stuff, and you have to kind of bring them back to reality and try to still make them see the joy in okay, listen, you can still love this over here too, just as much.
Well, I'm not going to show a house that I know my buyer cannot purchase. I mean, I'm just not going to do that. I have an in-depth conversation with my buyer before we even go out and start looking at homes. I do a buyer consultation, and right now I'm doing a lot of those via Zoom or FaceTime. And I lay out a timeline of what to expect in this process, but also I set the expectation. Okay, with this price range, and like I was telling you earlier, let's say your price range is $350,000. $350,000 in Atlanta will get you 5 different types of products in 5 different counties. So location is key with real estate. So I sit down and we have an in-depth consultation about the whole process. We talk about the location. We talk about the type of home that they want to purchase. A lot of times my buyers will come in with a list. My home must have X, Y, Z. And usually the home they end up buying, it's a totally different house. But, again, we set the expectations up front. And like I said, I never show my buyer a home they cannot get.
Well, that's a beautiful thing right there. That's a beautiful thing right there, to be able to know that you're not going to put them in that position to where you're not going to put them in that position to where they can't do what they need to do. And so, Kisha, that right there is phenomenal, because do you find right now, and I know it's probably market dependent, but do you find buying a new home, a new build versus a house that's out there? I mean, I'm sure, like you're going to tell me, obviously it just depends on the buyer, but where do you see people leaning right now?
Well, right now, a lot of people are wanting a newer home because of the COVID situation. They're wanting to know, they feel comfortable knowing that they're the first, homeowner in this particular house. However, with that being said, I mean, that limits your geographical option. If you want to be closer to the city, depending on your budget, there's not a lot of land, in the city. Therefore, there's not a lot of new construction, homes going on. You will have to go out in the outer skirts. And I'm just speaking about the greater Atlanta area.
Right.
I'm sure your listeners are all over the country, but here in Atlanta, that's going to determine where you want to live. But yeah, I mean, people like to have a new home. They like to feel, they feel comfortable knowing that they're the first ones using this bathtub, and
right.
But at the same time, having a new home does not mean it's a better house. I mean, new homes, home inspection lists sometimes are longer than a house that's been standing for 20 years.
Amen. I can attest to that.
It just depends on the builder, it depends on, a lot of things. But But I would say that the new home demand has gone up slightly. But again, here in Atlanta, it limits your options if you want a new home.
So do me a favor. Let's go back. I remember we were talking earlier. We were talking about, like you said, you mentioned it. Hey, $350,000 gets you a lot in all of these different places and different areas. So walk the listeners through that. So remember we were talking to Stockbridge. You're like, oh, if you're out of Stockbridge, that might be a house, it might be some land coming closer. So just go over that, the different areas that you cover, what that money would get you in certain places.
Sure. I mean, like I said, here in greater metro Atlanta, the demand is higher. Well, the demand was higher within the metro area, within the city, closer to the city. Main reason for that was because people were tired of commuting, an hour to get to work each way. So, that's 2 hours taken out of your day just driving back and forth to work. Now that everyone is home, I mean, that conversation has changed a little bit. Actually, now we're seeing where people are wanting to go back out to the suburban areas for various reasons. They're working from home. They no longer have to commute. And also their home features, they're desiring more home features. They want a backyard now. They want outdoor living space. They don't want to feel like they're up under their neighbors anymore. So that conversation has changed. But to answer your question, yes, the further outside the city you go, I mean, obviously you do get more for your money. In Stockbridge, $350,000 will get you, a nice home, 3-level home with a basement and a yard, a fence. You come up in Buckhead, $350,000 will get you a 2-bedroom condo, and your HOAs could be $400, $500 a month.
Ouch. Ouch.
Ouch. But it's a different lifestyle that you'll have. You can open the door and walk to Starbucks next door. You could just go and walk and do your retail shopping. Whereas Stockbridge, you're scattered out. You have to drive pretty much anywhere you want to go. Right. So it's all about location.
All about location. That is awesome. And, it's amazing. Sean, I'm not going to leave you out of this. Let me unmute you, sir, because I know that you're driving, so I'm going to unmute you. I've got a question for you. Here we go. Let's see. There we go. So, Sean, my question for you is this. Being a mortgage broker and working for a mortgage company, and it's kind of a twofold question. So do you recommend people, I'm retired military, I've got an account with USAA, and I got an account with Navy Federal. And so just for my veterans that are listening and so forth, who a lot of them bank with both of those banks, do you recommend all of them trying to pre-qualify with who they bank with, or should they look at just coming and going through the mortgage company?
All right. So I'm actually glad you asked that question because, I grew up in a military family myself. So my dad was in the Army, and then I grew up off of Shaw Air Force Base.
Okay.
In Sumter, South Carolina. If you know what that is.
Yeah, we know. Right. I know exactly what that is.
All right. So here's the thing: is kind of growing up, you always, even in your position, you kind of work with the bank, and sometimes the bank starts with the bank that you met on base, right? So a lot of veterans think that USAA, Navy Federal, is going to give them the best options. And I'm telling you guys right now, that's not going to be the case. All right. So here's one thing that you have to realize. Most banks are built for more of your cookie cutter loans. Okay. So I'm talking about if you're a veteran, use the VA loan. They want you to have, pretty good credit. Okay. And they can slam you right through the system. Oftentimes you'll get denied at these same institutions if you have a little bit of hair, just a little bit of tiny little hair. When I say hair, a credit score may not be 700. You could have student loans, you can have child support, and you're not going to get it to go through. Now, things that you can look up, and this is something that you can write down. There's a website called NMLS consumeraccess.org. Okay. And on this website, you can check the background of the person that is getting your loan for you. Now, one thing you guys may not be aware of, the guys who work at USAA, the guys who work at Navy Federal, 90% of them are not going to be licensed to do the business. Okay? So tomorrow, you can go to Navy Federal and become a loan officer at Navy Federal. You do not have to be licensed to do the business. Now, how do you check somebody's license? You go to NMLS consumeraccess.org, which stands for National Mortgage Licensing System. It's a registry that gives everybody's background. Okay? So from there, you can type in your name. You can type in my name if you want to. My name is Sean Graham, SHAUN Graham. And then you can pull up my resume. So you can see how long have I been working at this company.
Wow.
How long have I been at this business?
Wow.
These are things that were put in place after the Frank Dodd Act. Okay.
Wow. Hey, let me repeat that again, guys. NMLSconsumeraccess.org. NMLSconsumeraccess.org. November Mike Lima Sierra consumeraccess.org. That's over the top. That's key information right there.
Yeah, so this way, like when somebody's calling you, or like my guy said he got 3 letters in the mail, right? He got 3 letters in the mail, and as some kind of loan officer they're going to put him in contact with. You can go on this website, and you want to see how long this person has been in business, okay? If they haven't been doing loans, they've only been doing loans for 2 years, they may not know how to handle your situation.
That's right.
You get what I'm saying?
That's right.
So it's like trusting a guy. Like I tell guys, like, if you had to do heart surgery tomorrow, do you want the guy who's doing it for 2 years, or the guy who has successful track record for 20 years?
It's funny that you say that, because I'm a retired helicopter pilot, and we used to fly all the time. And I say, hey, these wings ain't got no grades on them, but I can tell you right now, that dude barely passed the test. So you better give me the controls and let me do what I got to do.
Hey, both of you got the title name helicopter pilots.
Yeah.
But one has experience, another one doesn't. So the thing is, you also want to look at, how long has a person been in a company? Let's say if they keep jumping company to company to company, then
something's wrong.
They don't know how to work. Listen, there's one thing about getting a mortgage, but you got to have a person who knows how to navigate your mortgage process at that particular company.
Valuable.
You get what I'm saying?
Valuable.
It's people who know the behind the scenes. You were in the military for a very long time. When you first got into the military, you didn't know the ropes.
Right.
You didn't know the ropes. After your 20th year in, man, you knew exactly what was going to happen before it happened. Oh, I know how this is going to play out right here. And that's what this site is meant to help you be able to determine, like, who do you want to work with? Do you want to work with somebody who's very experienced? Or do I just want to go with this person who's quoting me a low rate, low cost, and it's going to...
Well, I definitely can speak to that, because when I purchased my home up in Ohio, it was a new build, and I still owned my home in Fayetteville, North Carolina at the time that I was renting. And same thing like you just said, I went to USAA, Navy Federal, and eventually ended up with the mortgage company. And they said, okay, Charles, we can make this work. We see what you're doing. You got your house in North Carolina, and they were able to do exactly what you said. They navigated my situation to get me in the house. And it wasn't anything shady about it. And they got me a really decent rate at the time, too. So I was very thankful for it, too.
Yeah.
And let me say also, if you're competing to get this house that you want in this market, you best believe that seller and the seller's agent is going to be looking at how strong your pre-approval letter is, how strong of a buyer you are, and where you're getting that loan from.
Okay.
That's going to make a difference as well.
Yeah.
Between getting that house and not getting it.
So this is not to knock anything at Navy Federal. They got good people who can get your loan. Don't think that they can't get your loan through, okay? Or to knock anything at USAA, they can get your loan through, But if you have any kind of
extenuating circumstances, that's what we'll
correct,
say.
and you don't know. And the thing is, you don't know until you go to apply for a mortgage. You got to have somebody who can think through certain situations and have seen more than just cookie cutter. So like for myself, I built my business on working with the not so privileged clients, the ones you have to teach them how, hey, what is a bank statement? I mean, like how to open up bank accounts, or hey, stop moving money all around. There's certain rules that we want to see throughout the process that helps your process be very smooth. And that's what we kind of guide people on. But you also want to have someone who's very accessible to you as well, too. And a lot of these guys don't work after 5 o'clock.
Okay. So Kisha, let's bring you back on board here. Sean, you're giving us a lot of great information. We really appreciate it. So Kisha, I'm looking for 4 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths. I've got my pre-approval letter. Sean done said, hey, I'm a good investment. I know that when you and I talked, we talked about how your time is part of your investment, is all I'm saying. And a lot of people don't understand how you help them a lot of times in the areas that they don't see. They don't always see the work that you do. So tell us some of your behind the scenes stuff.
Oh, wow. I mean, it varies. Depends on what part of the process we're talking about. But in the beginning, once we, start shopping and find the home that you want to make an offer for, there's behind the scenes work that goes on even before I allow my buyer to make the offer. For example, I investigate the actual house, the neighborhood, the HOA. I look at the comps. I look at if it's actually fairly priced, or if they're price gouging, if this is overpriced. I also speak to the listing agent and get information on the seller. I look for things like, what's the timing? What is the seller purchasing another home? How much longer do they need to be in this house? Because that information will help me tailor my offer to help set my buyer up to win. So, I basically do a full CMA report on the home before we even put our offer on the home. And a CMA it stands for Comparative Market Analysis. So I kind of treat that home as if I was going to go in and list it, because I want my buyer to understand the value of this home. Also, it depends on what else we're going to be asking for. So there's some work that I do prior to, and your agent should be doing that for you as well, prior to making the offer. And once we make the offer and get our offer accepted, then there's a lot of shuffling after that with the lender, staying in communication with the lender, staying in communication with the attorney, setting up the appointments to get all the inspections done. And I like to make sure, this is something for the buyers to know, when it comes to inspections, make sure you get your inspections done early on in the process, your general inspection, because there are going to be supplemental inspections possibly that you will need to get. So a lot of people don't realize that. They think, okay, I'm going to pay $400 and have this inspection company come, but what if that general inspector does not know, the HVAC system in detail? That general inspection is not going to be able to tell you how the septic tank is looking. What if the home has a pool? So make sure, I'm making sure I'm guiding my buyers on the entire process and making sure we're staying on top of the deadlines and making sure that we get to the closing table as smooth as possible.
Okay, so it's funny you bring that up, and so we're talking about inspections. Erica wanted me to ask you. She said, "Do you have a preferred builder for new homes?"
A preferred builder? No. Because it's not like, I can say, okay, let's just use this builder and we're going to go out and see what they have. Because, with new homes, like, again, it's going to depend on what my buyer is looking for, where they want to be, because certain builders only build in certain areas.
Right.
There are builders that I've done multiple deals with. But that certainly was not resulted as me steering. That's against the law. We can't steer a buyer to go anywhere. It just so happened, end up that way that I've closed multiple deals with the particular builder. But no, it all depends on what my buyer needs, and most importantly, the location. Because,
Okay.
The builders here, they're all scattered.
Okay.
Their communities are all scattered.
Kind of they're just kind of all over the place.
Atlanta's pretty big.
And so, yeah, that's good to know. But especially when it comes to the inspection stuff, because like you said, you have some inspections that come in on the backside or having to follow up on certain things.
Absolutely.
And so I know that the relationship that you build and the rapport that you build with your clients, how important that is, because everybody's unique. Their situations are different. And their motivation for buying or selling, because we've been talking about buying, but let's not forget, she's a realtor. She sells homes too. Helps you sell your house as well. It just may be a different circumstance. And I know that in this market, I guess you would say right now it is a buyer's market more than it is a seller's market. That is where we are with the interest rates being so low. So tell us about some of the things or red flags that you know that happen in your industry that should be a red flag to somebody. So I didn't go to Kisha Simon, I went to Bootney Farnsworth, and he telling me a whole bunch of good stuff, and I don't know any better. What are some things that I need to be like, that I should definitely question the validity of if I'm being told?
That a buyer should question their real estate agent?
Yeah. So if they were putting me in a situation that just is almost was too good to be true, and I guess that's kind of a combination for you and Sean, because guess what? In every industry that's out there, there are good and bad people, and so we know from the history of what's taken place, particularly in our communities of color. There were some subprime loans. There was just a lot of things that got a lot of people in trouble, unfortunately. So tell us about some of that stuff so that we can know to avoid it.
Okay, now I understand your question. And I'll speak on the real estate agent side, and I'll let Sean speak on the lender side. But if you have an agent coming to you telling you that they will give you money back, because I hear that a lot. And I'm seeing, I actually let a buyer go because they were asking for a part of my commission, because that's what they were offered from another agent. Number one, that's against RESPA. It's against the law. We're not allowed to do that. So if that sounds enticing, that sounds great. Oh, this agent's going to give me a rebate. This agent's going to give me money back. If you're hearing that from an agent, that is a huge red flag.
Wow.
Huge. Wow. And also you need to know what services you're not going to be provided. I take full pride in my industry and what I do, and it is a lot of work, and we earn every bit of that commission. So if an agent is coming to you saying, come work with me, I'm going to give you a certain percent back, or I'm going to give you half of my commission back, or whatever, you need to be very, very cautious of that. And like I said, that's the one thing that I can think of that I've seen and I've heard a lot. There's even companies out there that I've seen where they advertise, that they will give certain money back. You need to read the fine print, and you need to know what services it is that you actually will not be getting.
Okay. Sean, tell on your side.
Well, I got several things, you want to be cognizant of. So when somebody quotes you interest rates and they have not talked to you about what type of loan that you're qualified for, that should be a red flag to you. They don't know. Okay. And oftentimes when you see stuff online, hey, rates, our rates are at 2.5%. Well, you got to understand that everybody doesn't qualify for 2.5%. Okay. It's not a one size fit all. This is not it. If you don't have good credit, there's no way you're going to qualify for that. If you want to get no money down, you're not going to qualify for that. It's not, it's not a one size fit all. So you got to be thinking about that. When somebody says, hey, there's no cost to close. So you say, hey, there's a refinance, we want to refinance house and there's no cost. Well, guess what? everything that you do is always a cost to it. Because you got to say, I'm the loan officer, I need to get paid. I got a processor, I got an underwriter, I got a closer, I got a secondary, I got all kinds of people that have to get paid on the mortgage. Nobody's going to do a loan for free. I don't care how good you think you look, okay? So it's not happening. So you got to understand that they're going to charge the fee somewhere, okay?
Okay.
So always keep that in mind. One thing I want to stress to everybody on here today is that when they get into the home buying process, you got to understand that me as a lender, I work for you. I work on your behalf. You are actually the CEO of the transaction, okay? You get to decide to hire me or fire me. You got to understand that I work for you. So the thing is, there's certain expectations you should expect. You're the CEO of this whole transaction. I should be able to give you the information that you need to make a good decision. If you need to get 34 different quotes and scenarios, well, guess who's got to do that work? That's me. I got to do that work for you. I hate when people have more questions about the new iPhone that comes out than they do about their mortgage. You got to understand, at the end of the day, whether you're buying a house for $50,000, you still spent $50,000. Okay, think about it.
That's right.
$50,000. Do not have more questions about a $1,200 iPhone than you do about a home that you're going to be getting in and you're going to be stuck with for a time period. Okay, so you got to understand that you have the ability to ask questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question. Ask the question so that you can be able to understand that process. So if people start realizing that they are actually the CEO of the whole entire process, it gives you more power. Don't come into the process thinking that it's woe is me, because the thing is, I got to earn your business. And if I don't give you timely answers, if I don't give you, if I don't help you with the process to make it smooth for you, if I don't give you the quotes that you need, you can always go hire somebody else. Remember, you're the CEO. So those are kind of red flags. If you're not getting calls back from your mortgage lender, if you're calling and they never answer, these are red flags for you. So as a CEO, you have the option to give that person a pink slip and be on their merry way.
Okay, that's definitely good. Definitely good information. Now, Kisha, since Sean is saying that, usually when I choose a realtor, I sign an agreement with them, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
So that agreement locks me in, though, right? How's that work?
Well, it does lock you in, but it also protects you. Without that agreement, a lot of people don't know this, and we can operate without the agreement if you're not comfortable with it. But your agent will go in full detail what that agreement spells out. But in a nutshell, without that agreement, I actually represent the seller. I don't represent you. So when I open the door to this house, I'm representing them if I don't have you in that agreement. And like I said, each state is different. So definitely make sure that as part of the buyer consultation, like I stated, I go over in detail the buyer brokerage agreement, because the buyer brokerage agreement actually protects you. And like Sean said, you can fire me at any time. I'm working for you. So that agreement locks us in a marriage per se, for a certain time period. But if for any reason it's not working out, you can get out of that agreement.
Okay.
100%.
All right. So we found the house. I'm all excited. And I guess based on the numbers that we've gotten from Sean prior to then, I should know what I have to have at closing, down payment wise. If I haven't already been putting part of that to that, I guess part of that down payment would be what I bring to closing or whatever to make sure that we get the deal done. Closing company versus title company, I guess. Are they the same? Are they usually in the same office?
Yeah, that's the same. It's handled by an attorney's office. Yes.
Okay, so then we go through the closing process of signing all that paperwork.
Yes.
And they give you these special pens, and they usually want you to write in blue ink instead of black for all of that, which is a wonderful day because it usually means that you're probably going to get the keys that same day, if not the very next day or something like that.
Yes. No, you should get the keys that same hour, that same minute. Unless sometimes there are situations where there's a temporary occupancy in place where the seller can stay behind in the home. They can stay for a period of time and become a tenant to the new buyer. And usually in that case, keys aren't exchanged. But yeah, you should get the keys as you're sitting at that table once you have finished signing all the closing documents.
Okay. That is awesome to think about. Erica said, for selling, she said, would you recommend professional staging?
Absolutely, hands down, 100%. And staging, it depends. If the home is already occupied, my stagers, we come in and we can actually work with what you have. A lot of times then when you're still living in your homes, a lot of times what the staging really means and what that looks like is removing. I remove about minimum 30% of your items,
Right.
30 to 40% of your items. Especially people that have been living in their homes over 10 years or, people that have raised, multiple kids, you accumulate items. You want to make sure your home you want to try to have your home looking like a model home when you go to a new construction site.
Okay.
So, again, removing items, we want to make sure that the furniture is strategically staged so that the buyer can vision themselves living there. Buyers are emotional. So we want to play on all of the senses when they step foot in your home. We want it to smell good. We want it to feel good. We want it to look good. Also, another staging tip, I'll always have my sellers take down any personal items, whether that be, political, views, personal photos, because again, you want the buyer to imagine them living in your home. You don't want a buyer walking through your home wondering who you are and what you do for a living and what, you want that home to speak to them and invite them in.
Okay.
So if it's occupied, we can stage your home and use the items that you have. We will be removing a lot of items. If it's vacant, there are a couple of different staging options now for vacant homes. We now have what's called virtual staging. It just depends on how big the home is and which areas would be needed for staging and the budget that the seller has. Depending on the situation, I've actually helped, some of my sellers offset some of that cost as well. But yes, overall, staging is crucial.
Okay.
Very, very crucial.
Most definitely. So, Sean, we want to thank you for coming on today. Give me some parting words there, Mr. Graham.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I was excited about it when I heard. I know I wasn't in prime location to do it.
You did
so
fine.
Hope my call wasn't too loud coming in. But my parting words is for people: don't be scared of the process. Don't be scared of the process. It's easy. It's very important for you and your family to set yourself up generationally. People are making a lot of money in their homes. And quite frankly, I didn't understand that, coming from a very small country town, I didn't really understand the power of home ownership. And now that I see what it can do, what it has done for myself, what it has done for others around me, it is very important. It's more important than going and buying those new Jordans, or it's more important than getting that new Fendi purse or that Gucci belt. Sacrifice for a little while, get yourself into a position where you can own a home. Let it make money for you. Let it be the thing that can help you, especially if you don't save a lot for retirement. This is a very good retirement fund for you. Take care of your home.
So let me give you a quick question before you go. What is the average percentage did you think that a person should have as far as down payment is concerned? Let's just say average. I'm just saying average.
Okay. Average person, 3 to 5%.
So 3 to 5%. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
$200,000 on the house is $6,000.
Okay. Okay. So if they show up with 10, they doing pretty good.
They're doing good. I got something to work with. You
Okay.
know,
Okay.
we all start somewhere, but a lot of times people can handle it. If I get a plan together, if I can save $500 a month for, for a year, I'm ready. I got my $6,000, Sean. Show me, let me know where I need to go. And the thing is, what I do and Kisha will do, we negotiate on your behalf. Okay, so she negotiates some of the costs paid for by the seller. I'm in a position where I'm going to give you lender credits to help you come to the closing table with any extended costs. We want you to get in the home. Okay, so you staying at home, you get, you gain $40,000 in equity, and you say, hey, Sean, I'm ready to sell this house and do it again. I found another house. Whatever it may be. You are not stuck to a home. Sometimes people think that if you buy a house, you're stuck to it. You're not stuck to it. Just like you move in an apartment, just like you move in a rental, you can move in a house. You're not stuck to a home. So I want to dispel that notion that, hey, even though you sign a 30-year note, that doesn't mean you have to stay there 30 years.
And
I'm not like my mom and dad who stayed in the same house for 40 years.
Right.
That's not the case.
And that's a beautiful thing to share. And just real quick, the other thing is for my military folks that are listening, veterans and so forth, if you use your VA loan, if you used it on one house and you go to buy another house, Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, the unused portion that they have left over, I think they're qualified, that VA loan qualifies for up to so much. There's a part that they can still use because I did it. I know that I was able to do it too. They were able to try to, that unused portion, I was able to use it. So it's just something to remember and something to consider. And yes, homes are just like anything else. They can be stepping stones. So that first home that you get in, take good care of it, do all the right things, build that equity up. Then you come back and you find Sean and Kisha all over again and say, hey, I'm ready to sell this house, take the proceeds and go to the next house.
Hey, look, if you are a veteran and you are not owning a home, you're missing out because the VA loan is the absolute best mortgage on the entire market. You get the best interest rates. The government takes care of you there. They don't make you put down any money. You won't have any mortgage insurance on the loan. And if you say, hey, you know what? There's a limit on VA loans, and you get into a bracket where we call it jumbo. You can still do jumbo mortgages with VA finance. It is the absolute best mortgage that you can come up with. So just get yourself in position. A lot of times with a VA mortgage, they want you to have probably a 620 credit score, but I don't know what you're waiting on. They limit how much you got to bring to the closing table. Usually you come to the table with no money at all. So it's a very good option.
Gotta love it.
You gotta love it. They take care. Listen, you may not agree with all the rest of stuff the military may do for you, but they take care of your house.
I know that's right.
On that, I got a lot of veterans in the family, so I know they complain about a lot of things, but this one thing you cannot complain about.
Amen to that. So Kisha, we're gonna bring Kisha back on. Our superstar realtor. She's right there in the greater Atlanta area. Give us your closing thoughts on the process.
Listen, when you meet with if you're not in Atlanta, if you're in Atlanta, you should be calling me anyway. But now if you're not in Atlanta, just make sure that you have a detailed conversation / consultation with your agent before you start the process. You want to make sure that you understand, what's coming next. You want to make sure you understand everything from A to Z. That now there could be some surprises, things happen, but you want to make sure that you understand the process in full ahead of time. Also, make sure that you get a copy of the contract. Go ahead and glance through that and go over that prior to making your offer. Because a lot of times if you're in a multiple offer situation, and time is not on our side and we got to get our offer presented, things, nowadays we do everything via DocuSign or e-sign.
Right.
You don't want that to be the time where you're just learning the language of the contract. So, I just want to say, make sure that you understand the process in full, have that conversation with your agent. And like Sean said,
And
this is the time.
And I'm going to throw in there, don't be afraid to let your agent or mortgage person that you're dealing with, don't be afraid to let them know what you do not know. That's what I wanted to say.
Right.
Hey, if you don't understand something, hey, listen, I need you to, okay, let's slow down. I need you to explain this to me. And listen, guys, we've already got some folks out there that want me to make sure that are asking for both of y'all's information. So that's a beautiful thing. So, Kisha, where can folks find you at?
So my Instagram is Kisha_IG, and Kisha is Kisha. My website is KishaSimon.com, KishaSimon. My phone number is 678-754-0370. Call or text me anytime. I'm here to help.
Sean?
So you guys can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook as Sean Graham, SHAUN. Graham, just like Billy Graham, GRAHAM. Or you can find me on Instagram as Mortgage Mamba. I'm a huge Kobe fan, always will be. So that's where the Mortgage Mamba comes in at. But you can also email me any questions, call me. My email is sean.graham@southeastmortgage.com. Or you can call me at 678-770-6697. Okay, I'm just a phone call away. Do not be afraid to ask questions. I've heard them all. I've been doing this for a very long time, so nothing's going to confuse me and nothing's going to throw me for a loop. So I look forward to hearing from anyone who's interested in it.
I really appreciate the two of you coming on board. And just to give you some relief, Sean, I would tell you, unfortunately, Kobe Bryant and his daughter and those folks lost their lives in the same helicopter that I flew, which is a Sikorsky S-76, which is nothing more than a United States Army Black Hawk, which I flew. So I would tell you definitively it was the pilot's fault. He should have never took off. He should have filed an instrument flight plan. All those folks would still be alive. That's just a mad shout out to the Mamba himself. Himself. Keisha.
I was a huge Kobe fan as well. Let me just say, when he first came out, I thought I was going to be his wife. Like I thought.
I gotta love it.
Been a huge, I was a dangerous Kobe fan. You could not talk about the Lakers around me back in the day.
Oh Lord!
Hey, you see why we get along?
I see where y'all get along. And listen, all three of us, I'm sure we can agree right now, just for one point of social activism. Hey, justice for Breonna Taylor. I just wanted to throw that out there. We might be talking about home buying, but there's some things that are still taking place in this country that we need to say, hey, listen, that are not right. So justice for Breonna Taylor. Thank you guys, the both of you, for coming on board. I was excited the fact that she was able to reach out to you, and Sean, you were able to get in. I love it. You showed me your versatility. He went from, y'all don't know, he went from driving to sitting down at a desk and didn't skip a beat. And that's how you're supposed to be able to do it. So if you don't call him, if he can't get it done, hey, can't nobody get it done. That's what it sounds like to me. Hey, and listen, I know from speaking with Kisha and the conversations and doing my own little research, she has a heart of gold. And hey, listen, I think I want to buy a house from her just so I can get a closing gift.
My closing gifts are the best. I will say.
Hey, listen, I'm thinking I want to go get a house so I can get a closing gift. She go to places like Tiffany's and stuff. Hey, she is not playing.
I give good closing gifts. So when you're ready, let's do it.
Hey, listen, the best advertisement, we were talking earlier, is word of mouth. And when you take care of people, my parents always taught me, people take care of you. Exactly. And that being said, hey, real quick before I close out, we have a list, Aleda Austin, and they're near and dear to my heart. They're like my extended family. They said really great info, especially for us. They said they are first-time home buyers and they're relocating to Atlanta. And that's who asked for your information. Now, that's all I'm going to say. So listen, she is definitely, they're definitely a couple that you will have fun with. But let me rephrase that. They might be a couple, and Robert is like my big brother, her husband, but I already know who's going to be in charge of this process. Aleda, his wife, is who you'll be dealing with, and Robert will just be along for the ride.
Where are they moving from?
They're moving from the Huntsville, Alabama area.
Okay.
Yeah, moving from Huntsville.
Nice.
And so they're
I'm ready.
both of them are prior military. Robert retired after like 33 years, command sergeant major. Hey, trust me, trust and believe you me, you'll have fun. All of y'all will have fun with them. You'll love the Austins, an awesome family, and I'm blessed to have them in my life. Once
Please
again,
let them know I would love the opportunity to help them.
you just told her because she's watching.
Sean can help them as well.
Amen. Amen. So listen, thank you guys both for rolling with Ramsey today about the home buying process, buying it with love, because I believe that if you lead with love and you have that, you can get through anything. And that even may be some of the hair that Sean was talking about that you might have. Everybody's circumstances is different, but it doesn't mean that you can't get into a home. Remember that. You can still get into a home regardless of what you may think your circumstances are. I'm sure Sean and Kisha have both seen it all. Everything from child support, being divorced and being stuck with a whole bunch of debt and trying to figure out how I'm going to navigate this and that. Trust and believe they have seen it all, because guess what? They in the ATL, and down there folks can be a little special at times. And there's no, we all know about just a little bit. We saw an NBA player go get his own wings the other day when he had no business being there. But that's okay, because I want the Lakers to win. I want LeBron to win anyway. So if that keep him out a few games, he can go back to Magic City as far as I'm concerned. But thank you guys again for coming on and just having fun with us and just trying to dispel some of the myths about buying a home, the challenges about buying a home, and why some of us think that they're just afraid to just jump into the home buying process. And it seems like you guys make it easier for folks in your area, and they're blessed to have you guys. We really appreciate it. I'm thankful, and I'm sure I'll be reaching out in the future to both of you. Because there are a lot of people that are going to watch this after the fact, and they're going to see your information, or they might have some more questions, and I'll make sure that they get to you guys directly.
Thank you.
Once again, hey, this is another week that has gone by. You guys have been rolling with Ramsey. I am Charles Ramsey, and we're making this do what it do. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, like the Rolling with Ramsey Facebook page, share the YouTube channel as well, hit that subscribe button. Most of all, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and coming up before the end of this week, iHeartRadio is where you'll be able to find this podcast at. I'm hopeful that this information was good to you all, and we'll see you next week. Once again, justice for Breonna Taylor. Peace. I love both of y'all. Kisha, Sean, thanks again.
Thank you.
And we'll talk soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.